Hi everybody! So the other day I posted a drugstore haul and I have been loving those products that I purchased, and so I figured I would do kind of like, I'm not really sure what I'm going to call this, maybe like a everyday drugstore makeup look. There you go. And using all those products that I had purchased just to give you an update on how they are and what they're like and show you them in action. Show them to you in the action. Anyways, let's just get started. I am going to prime my face using this Magic Lumi primer. This is an oldie, but a goodie. It's very luminous, as you can tell. I'm actually not going to be using any foundation. I'm just going to be covering my blemishes with my Maybelline Fit Me concealer. I've been really liking just concealing as opposed to all of the foundation. It's just kind of a nice, more of a natural look. I mean, even though I'm using like a lot of concealer, it's still not as heavy as foundation. And then for my under eye circles, I'm going to use a different one. This is Revlon's Color Stay. Blend all of that out. I'm going to be using a Real Techniques brush. And I'll start under my eyes first. Lightly patting, never dragging and being rough. You gotta prevent those wrinkles from happening. It's just that concealer to me is a really, really good under eye concealer. And then whatever's left on the brush, I always like to just take and sweep on top of the lid just to cover any veins that show, because that's really thin skin. And then just with a really light hand, as you can tell, I'm really holding the brush super light, just buffing that all over. And I mean, as you can tell, it doesn't cover everything 100% coverage, full coverage. I don't really like that look to me, because that's not natural. It's natural to have freckles and, you know, everything. So I don't like to necessarily hide everything. I just like to kind of tone down the redness if there is any, and maybe not make them as noticeable. I'm going to be taking a Morphe brush. I'm not really sure what this is. I call this like a setting brush because it's what I use for setting. And I'm going to be using the Morphe face powders. So I'm going to dabble in this one and a little bit of the top one, just ever so lightly. And then I'm going to press under the eye and then swiping. Pressing first, swiping second, just to make sure that that concealer doesn't budge. These are very full coverage concealer or powders, so you don't need to like go in and continue to swirl. And I find with that Anastasia banana powder, the shade, I could go in like 10 times and keep applying and not have any buildup, which is nice. But I like the fact that when I press once, you know, when I dip in my brush once to the powder and then I press it here once, I can tell, and I like that. So I'm basically just putting it on where I want to highlight, under my eyes, and then just whatever is left on that brush, I'll just take really lightly over wherever else I put that concealer. Now for brows, we're going to go to brows. I'm taking an e.l.f. brush and I'm going to go back into that same setting powder, and I'm going to go to that really dark one, and I'm going to mix the two because this is a little too warm and this one is a little bit too cool. So I'm going to mix them up. And then how I've been doing my brows is just making the line right here really lightly, flicking. So I'm holding the brush like this And then whatever is left on that brush, I'm making like little hair strokes right here. And then I'll just take my finger and run that out, blend it out, I mean. And then I have been just enhancing this arch. And then extending the tail just a smidgen. So really not adding too much to my brows. And this has been such a nice change. I've been liking doing the thinner brow. And if you feel like you've ever make them too like angry in the center, or they're too much of a straight line and they don't look natural, I just take whatever brush I use to like do my foundation or concealer and just kind of run it through the center. Kind of breaks up that line. Makes it a little bit more natural. To set, I'm going to be using my Maybelline Brow Drama, which I can't seem to get enough of. This is in the color Soft Brown. I always like to brush the front one. Now to move on to the eyes. I'm actually going to be just using one shadow, and that shadow is going to be that the 24-Hour Color Tattoo by Maybelline in Bad to the Bronze. I swatched this a little, and I did like a little, I put it on for you guys. This is so pretty. To me, this is like, all I need is one shadow. It's so smooth, it's so creamy, it does not budge, it doesn't crease, it lasts forever. I don't know about 24 hours because I don't keep my makeup on for 24 hours, but as long as you need it to stay on, it's going to be on. So I'm actually going to just apply this with my finger all over to the lid first. And this is so creamy and just so easy to work with. It has a lot of grace. And then whatever is left on my finger, I'm just going to blend up into the crease just so that there's no harsh line. And just run it up so we can clean up any of those edges. And now it's all about just getting it to the desired darkness on the lid. Yeah, so pretty. Okay, and that's all for the shadow. We will highlight, and to highlight, I'm going to be going into the Morphe palettes, and this is the 35 Warm. First, this very pale matte color, and I'm going to be taking it on an E15, and I'm just going to clean up the brow area, sharpening it. You could do this with concealer, whatever, golden shimmer color, and I'm going to pop that on the highest peak and then blend that out. The highest, wherever the highest arch is, and then blend down and up. To darken up the lash line, I'm not going to be using any liner, just eyeshadow. I'm going to be taking that dark black. This is seriously the darkest black eyeshadow I've ever used. It's very creamy too, which sometimes the darker the color, the harder, you know, it kind of gets really chalky. This is not chalky. And I'm just going to run this, the majority of the product in the outer, and then whatever is left, I'm just going to smudge and bring it in. I've really been enjoying doing the shadow instead of like a liner, just because it looks more effortless and it takes like 2 seconds. Because it's not about, you know, the perfect straight line, which I love. To bronze up the face, we're going to take a Real Techniques brush, and I'm going to be using this Bronze Booster by Physicians Formula. This is such a pretty bronzer. It has a slight bit of sheen, but it's nothing like that Too Faced one that I always use. This is, I think, is a lot easier to use. It's super light, so you have to build it up to your, you know, like darkness, which I really like. I think sometimes it's kind of scary when you're dealing with a really heavy pigmented product and you put it on your face and you're like, oh crap, and then you have to try to blend it out, where I like to build up my product. The majority I literally put into my hairline, and then I just really, really lightly bring whatever is left on that brush down. And as you can tell, it has a slight bit of sheen. I love it. And then I'm gonna contour the forehead, just adding some warmth to it. Just see how pretty that is. So pretty. And then my jawline. And you can really, you know, put this anywhere you want. Okay. Even though it's fall, I really like my bronzer. Now that that is on, we're gonna move to blush and then the highlighter that I bought, that Lumi highlighter. So I'm gonna be taking a Morphe blush brush, and of course the Morphe blush palette that I use probably too much. And I'm gonna be using this color right here. Yes, right there. And this is a dupe for sure to that NARS Orgasm color. And I mean, this is like super crazy pigmented, like such a light hand goes so far. We will be blending that out, don't worry. And this has like a really soft shimmer to it, but it's nothing chunky. Again, it gives a very glowy look. Now we're taking a Morphe large stippling brush, which again is my favorite. Okay. Now to highlighter. We're going to be using the L'Oreal True Match Lumi. This is beautiful. And a Sonia Kashuk brush. And I'm just going to place it more in the gold and white color, but just run it along there. And I'm just going to place this on top of the cheekbones. Wow. See that gorgeousness? I'm really, really impressed with this. It's a very, very finely milled setting powder or highlighter, which is really good. Then I'm going to take this light color. I'm just going to pop that for my inner corner highlight, just with my finger. Yeah, so nice. Okay, now for the last, almost finished actually, now for mascara. And when I purchased this, I thought I was purchasing a different one. It turns out that it was just the old packaging, that the drugstore that I went to was just trying to clear out the old so they can bring in the new. But this is my favorite mascara. I have converted from the CoverGirl girl to a L'Oreal girl. This is seriously amazing. It's super wet, which I like. It's easier to work with, I think. Now to finish off the look, we're gonna do lips. And I'm gonna actually line my lips, which I never do. But this is such a pretty lip liner. This is from NYX, and this is in the color Jewel. And I'm just gonna do it really lightly. I'm not gonna overdraw. And I'm gonna fill in. And then on top of that, we're gonna do my new favorite lip product is the L'Oreal Lilac color, or lip chapsticks is what I like to call them. There, just gonna put that all over. And this is the finished look. So I hope you all enjoyed this very affordable drugstore makeup tutorial. And if you want to see more affordable looks, let me know. Just like this video, and then let me know what you want to see in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.